Thanks again for joining me for Katy's Corner. I am excited to be speaking with yet another ERG leader, Peter Lam. In the spirit of transparency, Peter is one of my direct reports. So Peter, thank you for agreeing to speak with me. Tell us a little bit about what you do. I mean, I know, but other people might want to know.
Well, thanks for having me join one of your Katy's Corners here. Yeah, so I think I'm actually coming up on about 3 years here at Extreme. Joined your team, the legal team, back in 2018, and hit the ground running. I originally came on to hit up the IP efforts here, basically managing the patent portfolio, the trademark portfolio, working closely with the engineering teams in terms of protecting innovation and pursuing the various inventions that are happening across the company. But also working with the software teams in terms of protecting open source and seeing, what risk we have. So primarily addressing all kinds of IP risk across the company. And one of the things that I had picked up over time, as you know, is a lot of the litigation, because we've had a significant increase in IP litigation around the globe. So that's actually been taking up quite a bit of my time these days.
And as we speak, you have rolled out our confidentiality training, which people should be doing right now, right? You're the voice behind the training.
Yes, we had that rolled out for February.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am the voice behind that training, and hopefully everyone takes it in a timely manner. And again, confidential information is very important to the company, to Extreme. It's part of our valuable assets, and it's important that everybody knows how to handle and treat it accordingly.
Yeah. So, so Peter, what did you do? I know since you started talking about IP, tell us a little bit. What did you do before Extreme? Where did you work?
Oh boy.
You have industry experience,
funny.
Right?
I do, and as I think about it, I didn't realize I had been working this long. And so I started out actually in the early 90s as a software developer. So I was writing code in the early days. I was writing in assembly and C. But this was back at Intel doing device drivers. And I actually segued from there into chip design because I have a double E background. So I was actually building circuits for flash memories and, oh my gosh, 486 and Pentium processors. So this goes back quite a ways. So, when I sit down and work with the engineering folks, I have this special affinity to what they're working on and understanding how important the work is, how valuable it is, and all the sweat and tears that go into getting product from, basic concept from an architecture spec all the way out to, tape out to completion and going out the door and having, millions of units ship at that point. I was one of the lucky ones at Intel at the time because they had a program where they were taking a couple of engineers a year and putting them through law school. So I managed to get into the program, and Intel paid my way through law school, and I became a patent attorney during that process. So I spent the day working as a patent agent, working closely with developers and engineers, and at night for 3.5 years going to law school. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody unless you're really serious about it, because it was a tough go, and it's certainly a bonding experience with all the colleagues and classmates we shared that experience with. So after that, I spent, I guess, past 20 odd years now practicing IP law. I've been at Intel for a number of years. I was at Intel for about 11 years. I was at Siemens as the head of their ultrasound IP division for a couple of years. I was actually at a startup for a year, just in time to come in and help get the IP all sorted out and have the company go IPO before the second tech bubble hit. And I spent, for networking space, spent about 8 years at Cisco, managing a number of advanced technologies. So a lot of the stuff that we're seeing here at Extreme, resonates with some of the work that I have done before. And most recently, I spent about 3 years at GE, actually, that was the last experience was kind of interesting. It was basically coming into a huge conglomerate of GE. GE is global. They're in 170 countries. They have 350,000 employees, and I think they're
Wow.
what was it, hundreds of billions in revenue a year. But basically, they were starting up a digital business. They had a new software business, and I came in as employee number 6 for the Power Digital business, and we grew from $0 to $1 billion in 1 year. So as the sole legal person there, it was a very interesting experience seeing things build out from pretty much a couple of developers into a huge business connecting the world of industrial IoT at that time. And
Yeah.
been at
Awesome.
extreme since.
That's awesome. Peter, you really are, you know, so much, and you're handling so much related to IP, and I know it's just you and Carolyn on the team. So that's pretty awesome. But let's just pivot for a minute, because you've recently taken on the leadership role for the Asian ERG, although it's not. So tell us a little bit. Is it Asian American? It's not Asian. I know we have an ERG in India. So clarify for us what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm very excited about our Asian ERG kicking off here. As you know, Extreme has inclusion as one of its corporate values, and there's this heavy emphasis in the past couple of years about diversity and inclusion. We have 7 total ERGs at this point, one of which is the Asian ERG, and that's is probably on the later end of the spectrum. We have actually a fair number of Asian employees here at Extreme across the globe. One of the things that is somewhat challenging to actually grasp, depending on who you're talking to, when you say Asian, it actually, has a very broad definition. Because if you look up at some references, Asian countries actually encompasses up to 50 countries, depending on who you're talking to. And within there, that means you have all these different cultures. So when you reference Asian, it doesn't actually mean like, hey, there's one group or even 2 groups within that, and we're all similar. We're not. I mean, we share similar experiences and trades and cultural celebrations, but we're all diverse in many different ways. And that's one of the things that as a ERG, we're coming together and not only learning about, what it means to be Asian, but how we can also celebrate that and share our differences in terms of culture and experiences with the broader Extreme community. And we also want to be able to help
like
Asians at Extreme.
Well, I was going to say, sounds like maybe down the line, you'll break out into subgroups, Chinese American, Japanese American. No, maybe.
I don't know. We haven't contemplated that. I mean, that's probably something further down the road. But at least in the near term, I think there's a lot of things that affect, not only each of us separately as from Chinese or Japanese or Korean. There's Asian broader issues that we can look at, and there's certain things that we, for instance, even employment or experiences at work, right? I mean, how do we help retain Asian employees? How do we advance our careers? These are similar things that we may all have seen at different companies, and then continuing to have that professional development. So yeah, we have a core group behind the ERG. Started out with myself, Lily Kang, and Diane Kramer. We have Nora Guzman as our executive sponsor now, and so we got a core group. We're starting to prepare for some of that planning of activities and events as this year will progress. Asian American History Month is coming up in May, so we're hoping to ramp up and have some programming going there. And we do have a name now. We are APIs at Extreme, and that is basically Asian and Pacific Islanders at Extreme. So hopefully that name will resonate.
Very nice. I like it. That's great. So, Peter, I mean, I think all the ERGs are doing amazing work, and it's great to get kind of like-minded people from potentially similar backgrounds working together. So what if somebody wants to join your ERG? What do they need to do?
Yeah, I am preparing to have a post go up on E360 on the Inclusion channel, basically asking for anyone that's interested in participating with the Asian ERG to basically sign up, express interest. We're happy to have you join one of these 4 or 5 different initiatives that we have prepared. There actually are leadership opportunities if you want to help pick up and run any of these. You can sign up through that spreadsheet that I'll post, or you can reach out to me directly, and then we can get everyone looped in.
Yeah, it's great work. So Peter, I think I love to humanize you. Whoops. Tell me a little bit about I know that you have a son. Tell me a little bit about him, and you have all kinds of animals at home. Tell us about that.
Yes, we are actually a very diverse family here. My son is actually just turned 13. He is a very active teenager. Lots of things to say. Unfortunately with COVID, he's been at home with us quite a bit more than being outside, running around, and doing all the energetic things that teenagers do. My wife, she's actually Dutch Argentine, and so she is a teacher in Santa Clara, and she teaches culinary arts for 8th graders. And so she's been teaching actually cooking classes at home. So every week there's a different set of recipes that she's preparing. So I've been at home eating a lot of the same dishes for several days every week because, as part of the demos, we enjoy
That's awesome.
the output.
I know that's a passion of yours. That's a passion of yours as well. You went to culinary school.
Oh yes, that's correct. I did go to culinary school, and I don't know if this was just unwinding from law school or a decision to punish myself. So when I was working at Siemens, I was basically doing the legal work during the day, and I was in culinary school here in Campbell. It was 4 nights a week for 6 hours. So I would start at 6, and because we had to clean up the kitchens and everything else, we would be done about midnight, and then you get home in time to go back to sleep and get to work. So we would do 5 or 6 dishes every night. I did all the hot food, the culinary arts, and my wife did the baking and pastry. So she actually started a baking business afterwards for a couple of years, doing wedding cakes and catering and providing sweets to various bakeries around the Silicon Bay area. And so, we love food. We love eating. We love traveling to eat.
That's awesome.
And about the pets, we just realized that we actually have, I think, rounded out. So we have 3 cats, and now we have 3 dogs. We have 2 bassets, 1 puppy that we picked up this weekend, and so there's 2 bassets, 1 mutt, and then 3 cats and 3 humans. So we're a pretty full house here.
That is awesome. Awesome. 3 cats, 3 dogs, a son, a wife that works, a lot of good food. You got a lot going on, and you're super swamped at work. So Peter, tell us how you balance and juggle all of this. Some words of advice for our employees.
Let's see, words of advice in terms of juggling. I think one of the managers I had at some point told me that, you're always going to have a ton of work and activities and events happening. And the key thing is to keep your eye focused on the glass balls, because from day to day, everyone's juggling a bunch of tasks and different priorities. What you need to make sure is the glass balls stay up in the air and get handled, and there will ultimately be ones that will fall to the ground. Hopefully the ones that drop to the ground are ones that are indestructible or okay to lose. I think what some folks run into trouble is they try to stretch and take care of everything, and what happens is you don't really do anything well because your vision, your priorities, and your energies are spread so thin versus making sure that the key things that need to be done are taken care of. And then always prioritizing and listen to your manager when things come down down the pipe to you.
Good. I love it. I love it. Well, Peter, thank you so much for taking the time, and good luck with your ERG. I think it's awesome, and good for you for grabbing Nora Guzman right as she starts to be our executive sponsor. I think there's going to be some great stuff coming out of that group. So thanks a lot, and have
Yep.
a good rest of the day.
Great. Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Peter.
Okay.